ATA for cutting off my entire family after they left me behind, with nothing but a note that said, "You'll figure it out," and now, after I've built a life they could never imagine, they're suddenly desperate to reconnect. My name is Lena Carter, and this isn't just a story about abandonment. It's about betrayal, survival, manipulation, and the terrifying moment I realized the people who gave me life were capable of treating me like I never mattered at all. I was 17 years old when I came home from my shift at the grocery store to an empty house. Not just tidy empty, strip bare empty. No couch. No beds. No photos on the walls. The fridge was gone. Even the light bulbs had been unscrewed. On the kitchen counter, taped to a chipped coffee mug I'd bought myself at a thrift store, was a single post-it note. 3 words, "You'll figure it out." No warning. No goodbye. No explanation. My parents, Carol and Greg Carter, and my older brother, Daniel, had packed up in the dead of night and driven 1,200 miles from our home in San Diego, California, to Nashville, Tennessee. Left me behind like I was a piece of outdated furniture they'd decided not to move. I didn't even know they were gone until the landlord knocked on the door a week later with an eviction notice. They'd canceled the lease early, stopped paying utilities, and vanished without forwarding mail. I had $43, a prepaid phone with 12% battery, and a backpack full of school books I'd never open again. For 3 nights, I crashed on a friend's basement floor. When her mom found out, she kicked me out, saying she didn't want drama. I used the last of my cash to rent a 5x5 storage unit in a sketchy industrial park. I slept on a yoga mat, wrapped myself in a donated blanket from a church bin, and snuck into the YMCA to shower before sunrise. I ate peanut butter straight from the jar breakfast, lunch, and dinner because it was the cheapest protein I could find. I applied for jobs at every diner, gas station, and retail store within walking distance. Most turned me away because I had no ID, no address, and no adult to sign my work permit. But then Marla, the owner of a 24-hour truck stop diner called the Midnight Grill, took a chance on me. She paid me cash under the table, let me nap in the walk-in freezer during slow hours. It was the only quiet, cool place, and once even gave me her old winter coat when a cold snap hit Southern California. I worked doubles. Saved every dollar. Got my GED through night classes. Taught myself Excel and basic accounting from free library tutorials. At 19, a regular customer, a retired logistics manager, offered me a side gig organizing his company's digital archives. It paid triple what I made serving greasy burgers. I said yes. That gig led to another. And another. By 22, I was freelancing full-time as a virtual operations consultant. By 25, I launched Carter Strategic Solutions, a boutique firm helping small businesses streamline workflows and cut costs. Just me, a folding table, and a laptop I bought with my first $2,000 contract. By 27, I had 5 contractors on payroll. By 29, I owned my own office in downtown Austin, Texas, worked with clients like Patagonia and Warby Parker, and had $1.2 million in liquid assets, real money, not influencer fluff. No debt. Fully paid off condo. Health insurance. A 401k that made my financial advisor cry happy tears. And, through all of it, not one call. Not one text. Not one happy birthday. I saw Daniel pop up in a People You May Know suggestion once. He was married, living in Nashville, posting photos of backyard barbecues and baby showers. I stared at his profile for an hour, wondering if he'd ever told his wife about me. Did he say I ran away? That I was unstable? Or did he just pretend I never existed? I never hated them. Hate would have been easier. What I felt was grief, a deep, aching sorrow for the love I'd craved but never received. I started therapy at 26. My therapist, Melissa, helped me untangle the guilt they'd wired into me as a child. I made a list of everyone who'd shown me kindness when I had nothing. Marla, the diner owner, Mr. Chin, who let me charge my phone at his bodega, the librarian who slipped me bus passes, the coworker who lent me her spare key for a week when I got pneumonia. Then, last month, everything changed. A podcast interview I did from storage unit to seven figures, healing after family abandonment, went viral. 1.4 million views in 72 hours. My inbox flooded with messages from strangers saying, "You put words to my pain." One email stood out. Subject line, "You're still our daughter." It was from my mom. No apology. No acknowledgement of the trauma. Just, "We heard your side. Maybe we can talk." Then, an hour later, a message from Daniel, "We miss you. Can we fix this?" I didn't respond right away. Melissa told me to wait. "Give yourself space to feel," she said. So I did. I went to work. Hit the gym. Had dinner with friends. But those emails haunted me. My mom's felt cold, like she was messaging a LinkedIn contact. Daniel's was shorter, but carried a flicker of something real. After 10 days, I replied to him, "It's been 12 years. What changed?" He responded within the hour. "The podcast made me realize what they did. I was only 15. I didn't have a choice. I always wondered about you." I asked the question that had burned in my chest for over a decade. If you cared, why wait until I was publicly successful? His next message cracked open the truth. Money's tight. Dad's business failed. My wife's pregnant again. Medical bills are piling up. There it was. The real reason. Then my mom sent a follow-up email with old family photos attached to me as a baby in her arms, me and Daniel building a snowman in Colorado, a trip I'd saved for by skipping lunches for months, me blowing out candles on a lopsided cake I'd baked myself at 13, only for her to call it clumpy and leave it untouched. At the bottom, she wrote, "We made mistakes. We want to make amends." I showed the emails to Melissa. She reminded me, "You owe them nothing. But closure might help you move forward, whether that means reconciliation or a final goodbye." So I agreed to meet Daniel. Just him. No parents. We chose a neutral coffee shop in Chicago, halfway between Austin and Nashville. I flew in that morning, checked into a hotel, and nearly canceled 3 times. But at 2 p.m., I walked in and saw him immediately. He looked older, receding hairline, tired eyes, but his nervous smile was the same. We sat like strangers. Awkward small talk. Then he broke down. "Lena, I'm so sorry. I didn't know they were leaving you behind until it was too late. They told me you had a plan, that you wanted to stay, that you were going to live with a friend's family. All lies." I told him about the storage unit. The peanut butter. The nights I cried myself to sleep wondering what was wrong with me. His face crumpled. "I didn't know," he whispered. By the end of the meeting, I wasn't sure what to believe. He seemed remorseful. Showed me pictures of his daughter, Mia. Didn't ask for money. When he hugged me goodbye, I stood stiffly, arms at my sides. But that night, my mom called. Daniel must have given her my number. Her voice was raspy, emotional. "We were in debt," she said. "We couldn't afford 3 mouths. We thought you'd go to social services and get placed with a better family. We figured you'd be better off without us." I hung up. Blocked her. Threw my phone across the room. Then my dad emailed, first contact in 12 years. No apology. Just a sob story about medical bills, eviction threats, and how Daniel's wife needs surgery. At the end, "Can you help the family out?" "No, how are you?" "No, are you safe?" Just a transaction. I forwarded it to Melissa with the subject, and there it is. She called me immediately. We spent an hour talking about boundaries versus forgiveness, about how helping someone shouldn't mean enabling their abuse. I emailed Daniel back. "I'm willing to have a relationship with clear boundaries. No money, no loans, and no contact with our parents until they take full responsibility." His reply gutted me. "I'm really disappointed, Lena. Our parents really need help. Families should support each other. You're being selfish with your success." All the old guilt buttons pressed in an instant. I didn't respond. Instead, I booked a flight to Bali. But they didn't stop. While I was gone, my parents showed up at my Austin condo. My doorman called, "Couple asking for you." Won't give names. I knew. Told him not to let them up. 5 minutes later, my dad left a voicemail. "We drove 8 hours to see you. You're being childish. We deserve a chance to explain." I deleted it. Turned off my phone. The next day, They stood outside my door, pounding, crying, saying they loved me. I sat on the floor, back against the wall, shaking. Called building security. Told them, don't ever let them up again. Then Daniel texted, furious, you humiliated them. They're staying in a motel they can't afford. My wife needs surgery next month. You're being cruel. I blocked him. But the manipulation escalated. A week later, my mom faked a heart attack. The doorman called, woman downstairs having chest pains. Says she's your mother. I told him to call an ambulance, but I wasn't coming down. At the airport, Daniel called, mom's in surgery. This is your fault for stressing her out. I hung up. Flew to Portland to stay with Rachel, the friend who'd let me sleep on her couch when I was 18. When I returned, there were flowers. Outside my door. The card, please call us. We're staying at the Holiday Inn until Wednesday. I threw them in the trash. Then came the photo of my mom in a hospital bed. She might not have much time left. Do you really want to live with this regret? I blocked the number. But the final straw? Daniel's wife, Sarah, showed up at my door with their toddler. She looked exhausted. Dark circles. A sleeping child in her arms. I only learned about you 3 years ago, she said quietly once I let her in. Daniel told me you ran away. Cut contact. But after your podcast, I confronted him. He finally told the truth. She pulled out her phone and showed me Facebook posts from my parents, dated years after they abandoned me, claiming I'd stolen their savings, that I was mentally unstable, that they'd spent years searching shelters for me. They'd crafted a public narrative where they were the victims. Sarah was horrified. I insisted Daniel reach out, but I had no idea they'd ask you for money. We have insurance. It's them who are broke. She looked me in the eye. You deserve to know the whole truth. 2 days later, my parents broke into Daniel and Sarah's house. Stole Mia's baby photos, financial documents, Daniel's laptop. Left a note, family matters should stay in the family. Sarah called me, hysterical. I rushed over. The place was ransacked. Drawers overturned. Papers scattered. Sarah showed the police the bruise on her arm from when my dad grabbed her during an argument. The cops didn't take it seriously. Are you sure they didn't just use a key? But then security footage from a nearby gas station showed their car parked outside during the break-in. We filed for emergency restraining orders. My building had cameras, a doorman, gated entry. I told Daniel and Sarah to stay with me. For 2 weeks, we lived in my once quiet condo, Mia building pillow forts, Sarah humming while folding laundry, Daniel working remotely from my guest room. It felt like family. Not the family that discarded me, but the family we could choose. Then, the day before the court hearing, I got an email from my mom. If you go to court tomorrow, you'll regret it for the rest of your life. We went anyway. In court, my dad claimed it was all a misunderstanding, that they just wanted to reconnect. When the judge asked point blank if they'd abandoned a minor, my dad mumbled about financial hardship. The judge granted us 3-year restraining orders. No contact. No approaching our homes or workplaces. Violation equals immediate arrest. As we left, my mom called my name softly. I didn't look back. But that night, I got a text from an unknown number. A photo of Mia playing in a backyard, unaware she was being watched. Below it, this isn't over yet. That's when I knew. They wouldn't stop. So I did something reckless. I emailed them. Meet me tomorrow. Noon. Coffee shop on 8th Street. Just me. After that, you leave us alone forever. They came. I didn't plead. I didn't cry. I showed them screenshots of every threat, every lie. I've sent copies to your church, your neighbors, your siblings. If you contact any of us again, I'll make sure everyone knows what you really are. My dad sputtered about ingratitude. I laughed. You think abandoning your 17-year-old daughter earns you gratitude? My mom wept. We don't want to die alone. I stood. You should have thought of that before you left me with nothing but a sticky note. As I walked out, she called, do you really hate us that much? I turned. I don't hate you. I feel nothing. You're strangers to me now. And that's your loss, not mine. 6 months passed. Silence. Then a letter forwarded through my lawyer. My mom wrote, "We failed you. We're in counseling. We'll respect your boundaries. We hope someday you'll accept an apology, but we understand if you never do." I keep it in my desk. Not because I'm ready to forgive, but because, for the first time, they acknowledged my right to choose who gets to be in my life. Last week, Mia turned 4. We threw her a party at my condo, balloons, cake, laughter echoing through rooms that were once empty and silent. As I watched Daniel spin her in circles, Sarah laughing with friends, I thought of that note on my kitchen counter 12 years ago. "You'll figure it out." And I did. Not the way they meant. But I figured out what family really is. It's not blood. It's choice. It's safety. It's showing up even when it's hard. And no, I don't owe them a second chance. Because the truth is, I never had a first one.